Nick McIntosh is local delegate for the Transport Workers Union, and he's online now. G'day, Nick. How you going?
Good morning, Nick. How are you, mate?
This must have come as a shock to you. Any idea where they're going to try and get these jobs from?
Well, we know that they announced that there were going to be, I think, 300 jobs at the beginning of the year that were going to come from Melbourne. I think it was from the maintenance side there, but they've then added to this with this 1,000 on top, or it's possible it's been incorporated in, but we don't have any idea where the other 700 to 1,000 jobs are coming from, Nick. They sort of said they've consulted with everybody, but the most what we know is what you know at the moment, Nick. So we don't know where they're going to come from.
I mean, maintenance has always been Qantas's big marketing opportunity, really. Not only the maintenance they do for their own planes and never having an accident, but the maintenance they do for everybody else's. So what effect would any cuts in maintenance have on the operations?
Well, I suppose the first thing is, you're right. I mean, Qantas has always prided itself on its safety record, on its the fact that it's proudly Australian. If you're going to cut jobs in maintenance, you're either going to do less maintenance, or you're going to have to do it overseas if you're going to make up for it. So, I mean, that's always a risk, because obviously the standards are different, and people want to see it done in Australia under Australian standards to make sure that this airline is still one of the safest airlines in the world.
Have you got any ideas of the sort of financial pressures Qantas is under and the reason why?
Well, look, I mean, we know that they're under financial pressure because that's what they've sort of been telling everybody for years. But it's worth remembering, Nick, they've still got 65% of the domestic market share. So we know that their domestic business should be going gangbusters. They've still got a very, very successful frequent flyer program. We need to remember that when this current board took over in 2009, the company was profitable. Things were going along pretty okay. Since that time, we've had 9,800 jobs cut. The share price has fallen every year. I think it's now half what it was 5 years ago. There's been no dividends to shareholders. We're now seeing record losses. On top of that, I mean, I remember this, Nick, the day that Alan Joyce gave himself his 70% pay rise in 2011 to $5 million. You'd think that you wouldn't go and do that if everything was going okay, and if you had some sort of a plan to get the company out of it. And then, of course, the next day he shuts the airline down during the industrial dispute. So you've got to start asking questions about, does this board have a plan and have a vision of how to get themselves out of this? Because it doesn't, judging on the past 5 years, it doesn't seem like they do to me.
Has Jetstar been in a way too successful that they've chopped off a bit of their own domestic business to open this low-cost carrier, and it seems that's the expectation of these low fares and low services, and we'll just take a sanger and a bottle of water onto the plane, and everything will be, and we'll put up with these cheap fares. Has that just cannibalised Qantas's existing domestic business?
Well, that's exactly what I was about to say, Nick, is that when Jetstar was first set up, we raised, and many unions, not just the TWU, but many unions and different people in business raised the fact that Jetstar was going to cannibalise Qantas. Now, of course, at the time, Qantas said, no, it's for a different route, it's for a different market. We don't want it to cut into our domestic or our international market. But the fact of the matter is, you're right, it has, number one. And number two, Qantas is still subsidising Jetstar to this day. So anything that the domestic business...
They're subsidising Jetstar?
They are, yep.
So it's not that profitable, is what you're saying?
Well, I'm sure that there's a part of Jetstar that's profitable, but Qantas has always supported Jetstar. I mean, it's a related company. So they're definitely, not only are Jetstar eating into Qantas's domestic share, but they're giving them somewhat, whether it's direct or indirect support, there's definitely support going to Jetstar.
So, at the cost of its own profits.
Well, it would have to be, yeah.
And I suppose all in the fight against Virgin.
Yeah, this is the thing, isn't it? You've still got to remember that Qantas has still got 65% of domestic market share. It's still seen as a national carrier with this great safety record. People still are proud to fly it and are proud to be Australia. And I'm very proud that we have thousands of TWU members who work for Australia, and they're proud to work for work for Qantas, I should say, and they're proud to work for Qantas as well. But I just don't know where this plan is, Nick. I remember a couple of years ago the saviour was going to be that they were going to go to Malaysia, and Malaysia was going to be the answer, or somewhere in Asia was going to be the answer to have the hub there. And they spent all this millions of dollars sending people over there and doing the plans, and then of course the whole thing fell through. And now they've gone with the Emirates plan, seemingly out of sort of a quick bit of desperation to try and solve everything. So I'm just not sure where this long-term plan of this board is going, because if the last 5 years is any indication, it's going south pretty quickly.
All right, Nick, good to talk to you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Nick.